Hello everyone, my name is Fedro and this is Cozy Veggie, and on the channel we cover a variety of things such as video essays, reviews, JRPGs, and all things cozy gaming. Now this time around I have my microphone facing towards me, or at least the light, because the last time I had this mic in a video, this blue light was shining and I probably was annoying a lot of people because while I was editing it, I was annoyed. So I'm going to make sure that you guys have a clear picture. Either way, hello everyone. It's been a hot minute since I filmed a video. I've been kind of in a slump creatively. I say this kind of because I have a lot of ideas that I've written down that I want to film, but the motivation to actually film it is just not there. Also, I have a lot of video essay ideas that I want to write, and of course writing an essay takes a lot of time, and I want to make sure that they're all really well researched, whether the ones that really have a lot of evidence or just a lot of facts that I need to be in the video. I want to make sure that's well researched, have the right evidence with the right facts, and it's also to my liking. I'm a slight perfectionist, so I just want to make sure that everything that I put out is 100% me, but also good content. But in the meantime, as I work on those video essays, I thought I'd just make a fun little video about dealing with my backlog again, part 2. As you can tell here, I have my little shelf of all my physical games that I have. So today I wanted to make this kind of a yearly thing, just so I can keep myself accountable, is to share with you guys my physical TBP. Now you're probably wondering, what the hell is TBP? Now, if you guys are not familiar with the booktube or book reading community, there is a terminology or term called TBR, which stands for to be read. So I decided to take that term and put that into a gaming perspective and call it a TBP, which stands for to be played. So I want to share with you guys all of my physical games that are in my TBP or in my backlog. The thing, again, this is for me to hold myself accountable on dealing with my backlog, because I feel like this year I've bought a lot of games and I haven't played a lot of games. I want to make it known that I feel like buying games and playing video games are two different hobbies. Like video game collecting and buying video games are just a hobby in itself, and then of course playing the games is another hobby in itself. And I tend to a lot of the games that I like to play are pretty long games, so they take a lot of time. So getting through these games takes a while. So if I just know that I'm going to expose myself. Oh, this is going to be so embarrassing. I'm going to be exposing myself with pretty much the amount of games that I've played. Granted, I want to keep it known and aware that I've gotten back into gaming in the past 3 years. So there's a lot of games that I have not played that I wanted to play, but there are a lot of games that in my childhood that I wanted to play but never had the opportunity, just because one couldn't afford it, or I just wasn't really into it at the time. Also, again, video games take a while to get through, so keep that in mind. I'm just making a lot of excuses, but I also want to be proud of myself, because I've played a total of 15 games this year, which is a lot, most I've ever played in my entire life. But either way, okay, we're rambling, we're confusing. Let's just show you guys what's in my physical backlog. So here is currently everything that is in my physical backlog. I have kind of it divided into sections. I have my PS Vita, 3DS, and DS games are here. I have some Wii and Gamecube games here. And then I have my PS4 and PS5 games here, and some Switch games. And on the top shelf is all of my Switch games. So this is literally a before of what it looks like with all the games that I have played and currently played. And now we're going to show you what it looks like with all the games that I have not played. And now this is pretty much all of the games that I have not, or at least these are all the games that I have played. Look at that difference. Actually embarrassing. I know. This is actually I have on my bed all of the games that I have not played, and I'm looking at them right now. Oh my god, there's so many. There's so many. Actually, this is ridiculous. I have a problem. And I'm gonna fix it. We're gonna fix it together. So I'm gonna share with you all of the games that I have. I'm gonna start off, again, I have Switch, Wii, yeah, I have some Wii, GameCube, PS4, PS5, some 3DS, DS games, and some PS Vita games. Also, I want to rapid fire these because again, I have a lot of these and I can't go into detail with every single one because we'll be here forever, but we're gonna power through. So the first game that I have on my backlog is Tales of Hearts R. I accidentally bought 2 copies of this. I originally bought like this just single cartridge at a gaming shop like maybe last year, and then I was on eBay and I found a pretty good copy. Like, not, I don't know if it's complete in box, but it has the case and the game and the cartridge in the game for a really decent price because this game can run really expensive. Either way, I have Tales of Hearts R. It's part of the Tales of series. I want to get into the Tales of series because I really love Tales of Rise, and I've heard pretty decent things about this one, so I'm excited to get into this. Plus, I need to bust out my Vita. Next game that I have is Trails of Cold Steel 2. I really love playing my JRPGs handheld, and I really wanted to get this on the handheld version of it. I actually again bought another copy of this on my the PS4 version, because again I was playing through the Trails of or the Legends of Heroes series on my channel, and I decided to stop doing that because I didn't want to do Let's Plays on my channel anymore. And I bought the PS4 version thinking I'd record it on my PS5, but apparently the PS4 version of that game kind of like, what's the word that I'm looking for? It kind of like shuts down, or like it breaks, not the PS5, but like at a certain cutscene, the game completely stops. So I decided to get the PS Vita version instead. So thought that'd be fun. And the next PS Vita game that I have is Dragon's Crown. This is from the creators of Vanillaware, who created really great games such as 13th Century Rim, Odin Sphere, and Mora Mamasa, and all the works. I've heard like really great things about this one. This is more of a side-scrolling platforming action RPG. I remember I've played a little bit of this. I played about an hour of it, and I thought it was really interesting. Definitely on the harder difficulty for me. Again, I'm a filthy casual and I play games on easy mode. I've heard that you kind of have to grind a little bit in order to level up in this game. So yeah, they have really different characters, and the art style again is phenomenal because it's Vanillaware. So I'm excited to get back into this because it's a pretty relatively short RPG. I think anywhere around like 25 to 30 hours. So definitely want to knock this one out soon. So the next PS Vita games that I have physically are just the cartridge in itself, and that is, I don't know if you can see this. And that is Trails of Cold Steel 1 and Persona 4. And Persona 4 Golden. You can't really see them, but they're there. I got these because, again, I love playing my RPGs physical. I got Persona 4 Golden clearly because I really want to get PS Vita, and this is the only game at the time was not ported onto modern day consoles. And now that it is, this game is kind of not useless, but it's gonna have to have a collection because I know that I think Limited Run Games is coming out with their own physical version of Persona 4 Golden on modern consoles, because originally it was just digital only. So there was still a viable reason to have this cartridge, but now that it's coming out physically, I don't know. But either way, I'm still gonna play this version on the Vita because I think it'd be fun. So that is all of my Vita games. Now we're going to the DS games, because again, those are also shorter. Okay, so my DS collection is quite smaller as well, and I have a total, I think, of 4 DS games, and I've only played in their entirety 1. Also, I want to make it known that some of these games that are in my physical TBR, I've made to play a couple hours here and there of them, but I haven't completed them. So when I think of games that are not on my backlog, or games that I've completed from beginning to end. So some of these games I may have done, again, played a couple hours, maybe played a route here or there, but I haven't completed them. That's how I feel like when I consider a game that I've completed, is when I've completed at least every aspect in terms of like routes and all that jazz. But either way, back to the DS games. So the first one I have is Animal Crossing Wild World. Again, I'm an Animal Crossing lover, and I found this loose cartridge at my favorite retro gaming store, and I decided to pick it up because I wanted to go back and play the Animal Crossing games because I loved Animal Crossing New Horizons. And I know that like the previous entries are pretty different to New Horizons, but I thought it'd be still fun to embark in these games. Now we have the games that are in complete box. First, we have Final Fantasy IV on the DS. Now this game is very interesting because I know that I wanted to play this game on the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters, and I know this is also another remaster with more 3D elements to it. So I don't know, I might play both, but I definitely know that I'm going to get that Pixel remasters into my collection because I want to have all the Final Fantasy games for my marathon in that series. If you guys don't know, I'm kind of currently on my own time marathoning through the entirety of the Final Fantasy series backwards. I put a pause on that just because I wasn't really vibing with 12 too much, and I really want to give it out the opportunity, but I just want to be in the right place to play it. So either way, I have Final Fantasy 4 on the DS. And the last game that I have on the DS is Radiant Historia. What's really interesting about this game is that it actually has two versions. They have a remake of it on the 3DS called Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology. I wanted to get that game, but that one is really expensive to play, or to at least get physically. And of course the eShop is closed, so I can't get it anymore. So I decided to just stick with the original DS version, and I've heard really great things in terms of graphics, and of course the story in this one is really interesting. I'm actually probably going to start this game relatively soon, so excited to hopefully knock this off in my backlog soon. Okay, now we have gone through our PS Vita, and now we've gone through our DS, and now we're going to go into our 3DS games that I have in my backlog. The first game that I have in my backlog for my 3DS games is Animal Crossing New Leaf. Now this is actually a game that I put in, I don't know, maybe a couple hours into it. I feel like with Animal Crossing games, or just any games that are kind of this, like, whether it be farming sims, cozy games, these are the kind of games that you don't want to binge and you want to just take your time. You pick it up, play about 30 minutes, maybe to an hour, and then put it away and come back to it again. So I've put in a couple hours into this game, and I really enjoyed it. Again, it's just a very calming, peaceful game. It's Animal Crossing. What's not to love about it? So I've not finished it, and because I want to take my time with this one. Next game that I have is actually still in its wrap, is Legends of Legacy. The Legends of Legacy. Now this is a really interesting game because I've heard it's an Atlas RPG. God, I don't even remember what this is even about, which is not surprised. But I think you have 7 different stories and 7 different protagonists that you get to follow and embark on this crazy adventure throughout their world, which is pretty much any synopsis of any JRPG out there. But I've heard really mixed things about this one. I thought it'd be really cool to add in my 3DS collection because with my 3DS collection, in terms of my games, a lot of them 3DS games that I do have are modded on some of my other consoles. So there are only a few games that I didn't have already that I wanted physically, and this is one of them that I wanted to add in my collection. Next, we have we have actually quite a lot of Atlas games in here. The next one we have is Shin Megami Tensei 4. Now, out of the Shin Megami Tensei games, I've actually not played any of them, but I've heard that SMT4 is probably the best out of the series. I know that SMTs tend to be a little bit more harder than Persona games, and they're different in their own way. I feel like Persona is more heavily relies on the connections that you make with your party. This is more focused on the combat, which is different for me, but I heard that the story is really good in this one, so I'm excited to get into it. The next game that I have is another Atlas one, shocker, and that is Stella Glow. Now this is a game that I've actually put in, I think, about 5 hours into it earlier this year, and I enjoyed what it was. It's really cool about this one. It's a strategy RPG that has heavy elements of music in it. The power of music is very important in this game, which I thought was really interesting. And I thought it was really cute. It's just definitely a very chill strategy RPG. Nothing too crazy or over the top. It's pretty your standard run-the-mill RPG, but it's definitely a good game to just pass the time and not to think too crazy hard into it. The next 2 games are putting them together because they're part of the series, and that is Bravely Default and Bravely Second Endlair. I've heard really great things about these games in the series. I know that they came out with the sequel for Bravely Default 2 on the Switch. Was it 2020 or 2021? That I actually have also in my backlog. But I've heard really great things about this one, especially this one here, Bravely Default, the first one. Again, also by Square Enix, and I'm excited to get into these. I really want to get back into my 3DS RPG. I feel like I've been playing a lot on my Switch lately, and I've really been neglecting my other consoles, so I need to step up my game, clean up my backlog, and play these games. And the last 3DS game that is on my backlog, physical TBP, is Tales of Abyss. Now this is also another Tales game that I've actually heard really great things, and I've heard this is pretty highly rated on the Tales of series franchise. I'm really excited about this. I know this originally came out on the PS2, but I don't have a PS2. I could emulate the PS2 version, but I thought it'd be fun to bulk up my physical 3DS collection and add this to my list. Okay, now we have gone through my 3DS, my DS, and my PS Vita, which are all my little tiny handhelds. We're gonna go on to my console, like my proper console games. I'm gonna start off with Gamecube because I only have one Gamecube game here in my physical TBR. And that is, of course, another JRPG. Are we surprised? No. It is Tales of Symphonia. Again, another Tales of game. I've heard really great things about this. A lot of people coveted this one as to be their favorite Tales of game. I know that they came out with a remastered version for this on modern day consoles, but I heard that the GameCube version is honestly the best way to go. I don't have a GameCube anymore. We don't have one. We have sold our GameCube years ago. But I do have a Wii that allows to play. I do have a Wii that has the GameCube slot. I do have a Wii that allows me to play GameCube games, so I will be playing this GameCube game on my Wii. And I'm excited to get into it. This is a complete in-box version of this game. I feel like getting the GameCube version of Tales of Symphonia is pretty reasonably priced. I think I got it for like around $30 or so. Like, it's pretty cheap. This is on the cheaper end of GameCube games, especially complete in-box. I don't know what it is. GameCube games are so expensive to come across, and I wanted to get this game before it got too expensive, so happy to have it. Now we're going on to our Wii games. I only have 2 Wii games that I've not played, and that is one, Last Story. The light. There you go, The Last Story. I've mentioned this on my channel many a times. I know I really want to get into this eventually because, again, I really love JRPGs, and I've heard really great things about this one in particular, and I honestly have not whipped out my Wii in a long time, and I feel like that's most people. The Wii is definitely a very interesting console, very well loved for its gimmick, the Wii remote, and definitely a family console. And that was a console that I never really dabbled into anything besides the main party games like Wii Sports and Mario Galaxy, Mario Kart. So I'm really interested to see how a JRPG will play onto that system. So I had The Last Story. And of course, another one that I have is Xenoblade Chronicles, the first and original iteration of this game. I know this has been remastered I know it's been remastered on multiple consoles like the 3DS and of course the Switch. I played the Switch version back in 2021 and was my first experience with the series was actually Xenoblade Chronicles 2. But Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition was really amazing and one of my favorites of the franchise. And I love it so much that I decided to pick up the original Wii copy. I know that the graphics are going to be completely different, but I'm excited to play it nonetheless. Okay, we're making progress. We've gone through, like, how many consoles? I think 4. So now we're going on to the PlayStation, PS4, and PS5 games. Now, the PS4 is a console that I got not quite recently. I got it back in 2021. I got the PS4, and then I upgraded to the PS5 because I wanted to get the PS5 because there's certain games like FS16 and then, of course, the FF7 Rebirth or remake games I wanted to play on the PS5 that I thought would be more fun to play. So I upgraded it. So I have some PS4 games and PS5 games. Although they're still making cross-gen games for both PS4 and PS5 well into 2023 and in 2024. So if you have a PS4, I wouldn't recommend upgrading just yet unless it's really running on its last legs, but they're still putting out games for that console. Either way, let's go on with my backlog. So the first 2 games that I have are together. I'm putting them together because they're from the same series. And that is Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. I actually watched a Let's Play of FF7 Remake back in I think during the pandemic, because that's when it was released. And I was really intrigued and I really wanted to dabble into it, so I decided to pick it up myself. I hope to probably maybe upgrade this I hope to possibly upgrade the PS4 version to PS5, but for some reason, I don't know if Square Enix made enough units of the PS5 version of it, because even getting the integrated version was kind of hard to come across, and it's kind of expensive, so I don't know, we'll see. But I had these, and I definitely hope to play these before Rebirth comes out next February. which is going to be so hard to do because February is a crazy month for JRPGs. Like the amount of games that are coming out that month, ridiculous. The next game that I have is still in its wrapping, and it's Tales of Berseria, and it's a PlayStation Hits version. Don't really love it, but what can you do? This was the only copy that I saw that was really cheap, like cheap. It was like, I think not 10 bucks, like 20 bucks at the time. So I decided to pick this up. Now this is a Tales of game that I heard it's a better one of the Tales of, but not the best. Some people really love this game, some people don't. I thought it's really cool that it's based with a female protagonist. We don't see that many that often. And yeah, I'm excited to get into this eventually, sometime soon. This game, also still in its wrap, is Tokyo Xanadu. This is from NM. Neon Falcom, people who created the Trails series as well as the E series. Now this is a game that people like to compare to Persona because it has a lot of emphasis on making connections with your party and leveling up their relationships and leveling up your combat. So I really love Neon Falcom games, and I thought this would be a really great game to add into my collection. I want to play this soon. Hopefully, eventually. Hopefully, I will play it soon. The next game that I have on my list is Valkyrie Chronicles Remastered. Now, I really wanted to get this originally on the Switch, but the Switch version is only digital only, so I decided to just pick up the PS4 version of it. Interesting about this game, I actually watched the anime about this years ago, and I was like, this was weird, because I feel like they cut out a lot of stuff that they obviously couldn't fit in the anime that were in the game, so I just didn't overall enjoy it. So years later, I found out that it was actually based on a game. Like, oh, and I heard really great things about this game. It's a real-time strategy RPG, so I love strategy RPGs, and I thought this would be really fun, and I heard the story, and this is also really good too. And the next PS4 game that I have in my collection is Scarlet Nexus. Now, this is a game that I put in maybe like 5 hours. I put in a couple or like hours into this, and I really enjoyed it. This is a game from Bandai Namco that came out, I think, in 2021, around the same time as Tales of Arise. And at the time, I think Tales of Arise was the more popular one of the two. But I've heard really great things about this because when I was playing it, the combat is phenomenal. What's really cool about this is it has 2 different routes. You have 2 different protagonists that you get to see the story into. Although I've heard that the story isn't too drastically different between the routes. But either way, it's an action or JRPG that's really cool. And I've heard good things. I'm excited to get back into it because what I did play of it was really enjoyable. Now the next game that I have is a game that I've actually watched the entire Let's Play of it. So the game to me is not new, but I decided to pick up the physical copy because I wanted to play it for myself for the first time. At least play it on my own. And this was actually one of the reasons that pushed me to get my PS4 originally. And that is the Kingdom Hearts collection. What's really great about this one is this is pretty much the all-in-one package to play all of the recent Kingdom Hearts games up to date, from the very first Kingdom Hearts to the most latest, and its DLC as well. What's interesting about this pack is that certain games are only like cutscenes. I think it's like Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days, and I think Kingdom Hearts Point 2 Birth by Sleep. A Fragmentary Passage, what a name. I know that 2 of the games are like cutscenes only, but for the most part, everything else you can play physically all in one. So, and these are pretty, you can get these pretty cheap, especially around Black Friday. Especially now that the holidays are coming out, you can probably get this collection for like maybe 10 to 20 bucks, give or take. Most probably 20, because I think the retail is like 30 to 40. You can definitely, if you're a Kingdom Hearts fan or want to get into the Kingdom Hearts series and don't know where to start, you can definitely pick up this collection because it has everything. So yeah. Now, the next game that I have is The Last Guardian. Now this is a really cool game from the makers of Eco and Shadow Colossus, which I've heard really great things. This is kind of a silent game from what I recall. It also is a really cool action game with a really pretty heart-wrenching story. And I know that going into this game that apparently that the development time for this was really, really long. But again, heard really great things about this game, and I'm excited to get into it. The next game that I have in my backlog is Nier Replicant. Now this is a game that I was kind of apprehensive of getting because this is a pretty high-intensive, fast-paced action RPG. I'm familiar with action RPGs, I play them quite often, but not as fast-paced as like the Nier series. but what really drew me in is the story about this game. I know the Nier series have really, really good games, and Yoko Taro's a very coveted writer and producer, director in the JRPG realm, so I'm excited to get into this one. Hopefully soon, but then again, I say that with all these games, but I will get to this game eventually. The next game, also in still wrapping, is Plague Tales Renaissance. This is a game that I mentioned actually in my most recent video games I wanted to play this fall. I feel like the medieval high fantasy kind of vibes fit perfectly with fall time, so even maybe in the winter, who knows, but hopefully to get to this soon. Next game that I might actually get to soon, quite soon is Stray. This is a really cute game based in a cyberpunk kind of setting. You pretty much follow this cat in this really cool game. It's still in its wrapping, but I'm excited to get into this. I feel like this is also pretty fitting for the Halloween time, even though Halloween is pretty much over in a couple of days. What I'm filming this is the 27th, so Halloween's gonna be over soon, but either way, I feel like this is very fun to put in on a nice gloomy kind of day. Another game that I hope to get into soon is Spider-Man Miles Morales, as well as Spider-Man Remastered, or at least the original Marvel Spider-Man. Now this is a really cool game. I've heard really great things about it. I know that Spider-Man 2 has recently come out, and that game is literally a lot of my friends have loved that game. I remember playing, or at least watching my brother play like the Spider-Man on either was it the Gamecube or the PlayStation 2. Either one of those copies. I remember him playing that and really thought those were fun. And so I've heard really great things about this game, these two games, as well as the most recent one. So I have not really played any Marvel games recently. I do remember playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance, I think on the PS2 back in the day with my brother. Enjoyed that game, but yeah, excited to get to this one too. Next one that I have, or the next couple ones, are recent JRPGs that came out I think in last year, and that's Star Ocean: The Divine Force. I'm not familiar with the Star Ocean series, but I've heard pretty decent things about this one. It's not the best in the franchise, but nonetheless, this is a more revamped recent entry to the series that I've heard pretty good things about. And I know that Star Ocean Star Ocean Second Story R is coming out within, I think, next week. There's a lot of mixed things about the way that it's coming out in terms of the physical edition. But either way, I played the demo of that game and I really loved that, so I'm excited to dive into that. Probably might get to that one first with this one, but we'll see. The next game that we have is also another JRPG, and that's Valkyrie Elysium. Now this is a game from also another pretty well-known or older franchise, because I believe the Valkyrie series started on the PS1. But this entry, a lot of people kind of weren't really loving this game, but I decided to get it on a sale. When I first heard about it, I thought it was really cool. The graphics and the art style looked really interesting. And I got it on sale. So you know what? Why not? So I'm excited to get to it eventually, and I like to say my take on this game as someone who's not played any of the past Valkyrie entries. And the next game that I have is also another Trails game, and that is Trails into Reverie, which is pretty much the cap off for the most recent arc in the Trails game. Now, I don't know I don't know when I'll get to this, because I'm still in the Trails in the Sky arc. It'll be quite a while before I get into this game, but I wanted to cop this copy before it gets harder to find, because for some reason NS America just doesn't make enough copies of these games, so it's better to get these early while you can before it becomes more difficult in the future. And I got the PS5 version just because I wanted to really get the most out of this game, because all the other Trails games that I have are on my Switch. Trails of Cold Steel, Trails into Zero, and all those, and the Crossbell arc and the Cold Steel arc are on the Switch, because I feel like those are not too high demanding games to play on the Switch, but I feel like this one would be perfect to play on the PS5. Next we have Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, which is another game that was kind of one of the launch titles, not really launch title, but a game to help utilize the PS5 the PS5's hardware and system. And I've heard great things about this. I remember watching my brother play Ratchet & Clank when we were younger, and I've heard great things about this one, so that's... Next PS5 game I have is Forspoken. This is a game that also had pretty bad reviews. Not many people liked this game, but I feel like a lot of it was coming down to the character and how the people thought she was cringe. But like, let's be so real, there's a lot of like characters in video games that are cringe, yet people still like them. So I didn't want to let reviews get the best of me in this one, so I wanted to pick this up for myself and see what this game is all about. And the last PS4 game is Blue Reflection. I've heard great things about this. It's a really cool take on the whole magical schoolgirl kind of vibe. So yeah, I'm excited to get into this one soon. Okay, we have now gotten through all of the PlayStation games. Now we're going on to Switch. I've been filming for a while, and I'm gonna just rapid fire these ones, so let's get to it. We have Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of the Elusive Age. This is the remastered version. Heard great things about this. It's a long game. I've heard Dragon Quest games are really long, but had this. Next we had Danganronpa, which is a really cool visual novel, murder mystery kind of vibe game. I've heard great things and I'm excited to get into this. What's really great about this one, it has 4 games all in one copy, so love that. We have another visual novel with Steins Gate Zero, or not Steins Gate Zero, Steins Gate's Elite. It's based on a really cool sci-fi take on the visual novel aspect, and I've heard great things about this one too. We have some indie games. We have Cosmic Star Heroine, which is a really nice homage, or not homage, but like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just an indie game that's kind of like based on old school RPGs with this art style, and it's a pretty quick game. I'm really excited about this one. It's really cool. It has a cool manual inside. Next, we have Eastward, which is also a pretty recent indie game that I've heard really great things. They're actually coming out with a kind of farming sim DLC for this later this year that I'm excited to get into. More visual novels or Otome games in my collection. We have Olympia Soiree, again, an Otome game. Lots of cool romance and cute guys. Another Otome game, we have Bustafellows, another one with cute guys and romance. But what's cool about this one, it's more of an investigative twist to it. So the next one we have is Color X Malix, which just was really interesting about this one. It has a more dystopian twist to the Otome genre. And we have My Legend of Zelda games. We have Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, Link's Awakening. Next we have Blue Reflections, The Second Light, which is a sequel to Blue Reflection. I've heard this one's actually better than the first one, so I'm excited to get to this once I finish that one. Next we have Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torn of the Golden Country. I've heard really great things about this expansive story to the sequel of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I really wish that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed had a physical copy, but I'm crossing my fingers and Monolith does that. But either way, excited to get to this. We have Fire Emblem 3 Houses, or Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. I've only played one route of this, which was the Golden Deer. I probably will get back and play the other ones because I've been itching to play 3 Houses for a while, but I've already played that game every single route. There's no need for me to play that, so I'll play this one instead. Next we have Luigi's Mansion 3. I remember watching my brother play the first one on the Gamecube back in the day, and I'm excited to finally get to experience this because I think I got this for him for his Christmas a while ago, but I took it back to play it myself. We have some Pokemon games with Pokemon Legends Arceus, as well as Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. I've never played a Pokemon game in my life. Why? Because my parents didn't allow me to play them as a child because they thought they were demonic creatures. But now I'm an adult and I have my own money and I can play whatever I want, so I bought them. We have Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Now, I've actually played the Galaxy on this copy, but I have not played the 2 other games. It's so interesting how this one was a limited time copy. I don't know if these are expensive now, but I'm pretty sure you can still find them in stores because I think my local Walmart still has these games. Next game I have is Unpacking, which is a cute, cozy life sim game where you just literally unpack and unwind and discover your life story. Super excited to get into this one. Next I have is Master Detective Archives Raincoat. What a long title. This is from the creators of Danganronpa. It's a really cool investigative RPG style game, so excited to get into this one. Next we have Digimon Survive, which is a strategy RPG of the Digimon series. What's really cool about this one, it has a very haunting, chilling, ghost supernatural aspect to it. Then we have Triangle Strategy, which is also Square Enix's take on the tactics RPG tactics RPG style. I played one of the routes of this game back in 2022 and absolutely loved it. I definitely will get into this quite soon because this is also one of my games I want to play this fall. We also have Harvestella, which is also a cool life sim RPG with some farming elements to it. I've heard really great things about it. A lot of my friends have recently played it and have raved about this game. I might push up and bump this game a little bit higher on my list. And I know I'm a cozy gamer and I have not played this game. It's quite sad and quite pathetic, honestly, and that is Stardew Valley. I picked up the physical version for the Switch. Probably not the best way to play it. I know that the PC version is probably the best, but again, I wanted to have a physical copy of it. The next two games that I have are pretty much similar because they're from the same series. That is Rune Factory 4 Special and Rune Factory 5. Also games I put in a couple hours in but dropped, not because I didn't enjoy it, but because I had other games and other things happening in my life. So those are those two games. The next game that I have is Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life. This is a game that came out this year. It's still in its wrapping. I've heard really great things about this remake of the 2000 game that came out on, I believe it was on Gamecube as well as the PlayStation. But either way, I'm excited to have this in my collection because I love a good farming sim with some romance. And now we're going back to my JRPGs. We have Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamers Edition. I've heard great things about Chrono Cross and I'm excited to play this soon. We have its title was Tactics Ogre Reborn. This is a great tactics strategy RPG. I've heard it's quite difficult, so I'm kind of nervous getting into it. That's what kind of pushed me from getting it right from release, but it was on sale the other day, so I picked it up. We have Live Alive, which is a really cool HD 2D style game from a remake from I think the SNES. It's a classic RPG that I've heard really great things about, and I've heard that this edition is really great. It's stays true to the original. And we have the sequel, Bravely Default 2, which I've heard is not as good as the original, but it's a fun take and a cool sequel to pass the time with. Next, we have Ni no Kuni. This is a game that I played 5 hours in originally. Kind of didn't love it at first, but I might get back into it because it's from the creators, or the art style is from Studio Ghibli, which is one of my favorite animation studio, so hopefully get back to it. Next up, we have Monster Hunter Rise 2. Now this is not Monster Hunter Rise, Monster Hunter Stories 2. This is kind of the Monster Hunter's take on the whole monster collecting franchise, and I've heard really good things, and I heard the story's not too bad. Next up, we have Astria Ascending, which is a really cool RPG. It's actually from the developers who've made some Final Fantasy, Nier Automata, and Bravely Default, which is pretty cool. Although I've heard mixed things about this game, but it was pretty cheap when I got it, so, and pretty short RPG. Next game that I have is Astral Chain. This is also a pretty highly coveted RPG that's exclusive to the Switch. Now this is a game that I heard the story isn't the best, but it's still good enough and keeps you engaged enough. And of course, the main push for this game is its combat. This is a game that I got recently, and it's Nier Automata, the End of Yorha edition. This is pretty much, I guess, the definitive edition or definitive way to play it because it has also some exclusive things to the Switch. It's a great action RPG that I've been praised and raved about by many RPG lovers. So I'm excited to finally get to this some point and some time in my life. Next game that we have is the Neo The World Ends With You, which is a sequel to World Ends With You, I guess. What was the first one called? Either way, it's a sequel to that game that came out on the DS. What's really sad about this one, it was kind of fell under the radar because Square Enix wasn't promoting it enough, but I've heard really great things about this one. Next game that I have is Octopath Traveler 2. I actually have Octopath Traveler on digital, but the physical of this one, and I've heard great things about this one that I heard that's actually way better than the first one, which is great to hear, to know that the sequel is still doing what the first one does but better. So excited to play it because I played the demo and I really was intrigued. Can't wait to get to it soon, eventually. The next 3 games that I have are all from the same series, and that is Atelier Ryza series 1, 2, and 3. Ooh, there we go. Again, I've heard really great things about these series. I've yet to play them. I've put in a few hours into Atelier Ryza, but again, I had the time I was playing it, and I dropped it because another game at the time came out that I wanted to play more of, but I will get to these series because I heard really great things, and they're really great, cozy JRPG. So So the next series I'm going to go through is Final Fantasy, and I'm going to really rapid fire through these ones because they're from the same franchise. Some spin-offs and the main line. So let's get to it. We have Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, or Final Fantasy VII Reunion Crisis Core. This was the remake of the PSP title on the Switch. World of Final Fantasy, Maxima. This is a really cute, cozy, like fan service game, but I will play once I get through more of the Final Fantasy franchise. We have Final Fantasy 12, The Zodiac Age, which is the I think a fully remastered version of the game that came out on the PS2. We have Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2. I've actually watched a Let's Play or a walkthrough of 10, and I absolutely loved it. That was the first game that really like got me into like the franchise and made me want to get into the other games. So I have not played it myself, but I'm familiar with the story. I've not played 10-2, but love it. Great to get to it. One day because I'm marathoning through the series. We have Final Fantasy 9, which I've heard is also another fan favorite. And we have Final Fantasy 7 and 8, which is a twin pack here. So yeah, those are all of the Final Fantasy games. So love that. Now we have all of my Trails series, which should be the last of my pile. So I have Trails of Cold Steel 3. We have Trails to Azure, which is from the Crossbell arc. Trails of Cold Steel 4. And Trails from Zero on the Switch. I have not played these yet because I'm going through the Trails series in chronological order. I'm still in the Trails in the Sky arc. I am going on to Trails in the Third. So I know that one has a lot of lore that is very important to the entirety of the series, so I want to take my time with that one. I took a break because I literally binged through like the last couple hours of Trails in the Sky second chapter. So yeah, and the last game that I have is Fae Farm. I played in a couple of hours into this, but it wasn't really clicking with me. I might get back into it, but maybe I've heard that playing with friends is more fun, so we'll see. And with that is every single game in my physical TBP or my backlog. As you can tell, I have a lot of games that I have to get through, and my god, it is quite a lot. And I know that most people, this may seem small, to some people this may seem like a lot, but again, I love video games and I love gaming, and even though the backlog can be daunting, I still can look at my backlog and be like, I have a lot of games that I can play with different genres, different types of combat styles and gaming mechanics. That is exciting, and always I look forward to see what I can play in my backlog. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and let me know, how do you guys deal with your backlog, or what are some games in your backlog that you are kind of inkling to play soon. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a good one. Bye!